Halliman. I'm a licensed clinical addiction specialist associate and associate sex addiction therapist. I own Life Healing Counseling here in Mint Hill, North Carolina, and I've been getting a lot of questions of how you can tell whether or not your kid is addicted to online gaming or other websites. So I thought I'd put together a video and answer some of your questions and give you this information. First, I think it's really important to understand what exactly addiction is, especially for behavior addictions like gaming and internet use or social media. So how can someone be addicted to a behavior? It sounds a little weird sometimes to some people, but the actual addiction is to a chemical called dopamine, which is made in your brain. It's a pleasure chemical. And it's the same chemical that lets you know that you love chocolate, or you like a glass of wine, or that you feel that really good feeling when you're exercising. That's a dopamine. So when the dopamine is released, there's a neuropathway in your brain that is reinforced. So if a kid is getting dopamine hits off something like gaming, which happens very quickly, that's how an addiction can be formed. They're addicted to the dopamine rush. So the thing about online addictions that is a little different is it's multisensory as well. All addictions really are, but we know that gaming addiction is triggered by the light of the screen, the touch and the sound of the click of the mouse, fingers on keyboards or joysticks, and if they eat or drink anything regularly while they're gaming, that can be part of a trigger. So it's an addiction we really need to be talking about with our kids. There are some myths that go along with video game addiction and online use that I think are really important to dispel. Number one most important myth is that video game addiction is for outcast kids. This is definitely not true. Kids can have video game addictions and be very involved in their church. They can be great at sports and involved in sports, getting good grades, holding their lives together beautifully. And there could still be a problem going on. So it doesn't just happen to outcast kids or kids that always seem depressed or wear black. And that's kind of one of those stigmas that really need to be dispelled. Someone needs to be using a real gaming system, and it doesn't have to be a $4,000 system. It can happen on a phone, it can happen on a tablet, it can happen on an Xbox and a PlayStation. All of these things can feed this internet or online gaming addiction, and it doesn't have to be some special setup where they have the headset and a special chair and a really expensive system. So that's another myth that's simply not true. Needs to be playing for hours and hours to be an addict. There are plenty of kids who can play for hours and step away and it's no big deal. Addiction is a little different. It's all time consuming and it can happen little by little, hour by hour. Some behaviors kids have that have possible gaming addiction are talking about the game and the people they meet there incessantly. That's all they talk about it. Even when the subject is changed, they still kind of come back to that. It's almost like obsession with it. They play for hours on end. Sometimes kids wind up playing for 14 hours at a time whenever that's possible. When you confront them about their gaming or excessive use, they get pretty defensive. That's a normal reaction from someone in any kind of addiction. We don't want to hear something that's actually happening, people are seeing happen, and we don't want to talk about it, so they might get really defensive. They also might get angry or explosive when they're made to stop gaming. If you are forcing your kid to turn off that game and they lose it, there's probably something going on there. It's a real possibility. They also sacrifice basic needs like sleep and hygiene in order to game. So they might stop taking showers, or they might stay up all night so that they can put that time into their gaming. They'll also hide or downplay how much time they're actually spending online. So they'll say, oh no, I was actually on there only 2 hours, when the reality is it's 6 hours. And they might not even really be aware of how much time is passing. It's almost like they lose track of that time. If your child seems depressed or lonely or preoccupied, there's something going on. Maybe it's gaming or maybe it's something else, but if your child's doing a lot of online activities, it's something to explore with somebody. Now, gaming addicts will do things that go against everything you've ever taught them to get their fix. Just like a drug or alcohol addict, they will do things that compromise their own morals and values and ones you've taught them. They will lie about what they're doing and how much time they've spent online. And they may try to circumvent a parental block you've put on their devices and that you've put in place to help them manage their time. Kids are pretty smart, and I've seen some circumvent those blocks. They'll figure out a way, their friends will tell them how to do it too. So it's important to watch for that. They might even steal. I have a parent who told me that his daughter turned on his phone as a hotspot in the middle of the night and used $400 worth of data so she could keep gaming. And that's stealing. Not something they taught her to do. The good news is this can be preventable. And if you'd like to know how to prevent online gaming addiction or other online activities that you think your kid is really kind of becoming too involved with, and maybe it is an addiction, check out my videos, subscribe, or contact me. I'm Michelle, and I'm at Life Healing Counseling.